Hey, this is Timmara signing on with the final part of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Alright, we're coming up on the end here. We should be able to wrap this up, pretty quickly. Anyways, but yeah, last time we learned the depths of what Mia was actually up to before she disappeared. Had a heart-to-heart with Jack Baker, and now we gotta find Evelyn, wherever she really is, and take her down. So, I got my loadout figured out, got what items I think are going to be useful. Actually, I should put those up here. We don't really need the handgun right away. So, anyways, we're going to go. And mainly, we can actually rush through a lot of this ending section, and that's kind of for the best. Can you move? Thanks. Now's not the time for that. Okay. Suppose that's what I get for ignoring the problem. Okay. I say we should be able to run past a lot of what's left, but it's also a higher difficulty, so probably a lot stronger. But yeah, we're getting into the mines. And yeah, mainly the mines. We just gotta find the way out. Whoop. Just go. Sorry, a lot of this we can just run past. If I remember, it was this way. So it also conserves ammo, because we're going to need it. As whatever scrap stuff we can find is not really, important for what we need. Because we should have enough. Oh, cool. That worked out very well. Nice. That was a great shot. Love the shotguns. Just keep on moving. Maybe we can check that out, but I don't trust. Oh, shoot. Well, so I have to swap stuff around. Oop. Okay, I thought our head was still going to hit that. God damn it. I mean, they did say Lucas was somewhere down in the hiding around in the mine, so he's setting up his nonsense. Friday, January 16th, 2015. Thanks to you guys, it's been about a week since my head's been clear and back to normal, and she still thinks she's got me. You guys really need to work on fixing that. Not only does she look like a little kid, but she's about as stupid as one, too. Mom and Dad are still totally under though. I was wondering if this whole family obsession, is this whole family obsession something you guys programmed into her? It's kind of fucked up. That bitch Mia is getting somewhere in between Evie La La Land and reality. She's getting pretty violent, so I locked her up in a cell. I thought maybe Evelyn would get mad since Mia's her favorite and all, but she doesn't seem to care. She's actually goes and visits her sometimes. She thinks Mia's her mommy. Like I said, your bioweapon is fucked up. Yeah, Evelyn's family obsession is getting out of hand. She's making everyone kidnap more and more assholes off the street and add to her freak show of a family. Maybe she's getting tired of Mia not coming around. But it's a pain in the ass for me because I gotta clean up the mess whenever someone new comes along. By the way, Evie's looking Sorry, by the way, Evie's looking sick or something. Her skin's getting all wrinkly and she's getting gray hairs. Is that supposed to happen? It's almost like she's getting old all of a sudden. That reveals a lot. That reveals a hell of a lot. Because, yeah, so that is Lucas. And so this confirms it. Yeah, seems he's been working with a third party, and maybe it seems to be like the bioweapon company. You know, the assumption is it's the people who made Evie. And not only he actually acting as a third agent, he's cured. This report details symptoms that appear when the bacterium that grows inside the E-Series infects a human. Be sure to read the document thoroughly before dealing with E-Series weaponized assets. Hereafter referred to as mold. Initial infection. The mold ingests nutrients from the subject's body to propagate itself and slowly takes over cells within the body. As a side effect of this, the infected subject gains remarkable regenerative abilities. During experiments, we removed arms and legs from the test subjects and found that they were able to co-opt the amputated limbs in a matter of minutes. Mid-stage infection. Once the mold reaches the brain, the subject's thoughts become in tune with those of the E-Series asset. The subject starts to hear things and experience hallucinations, and soon comes under the complete control of the E-Series asset. In this state, if this state continues, the host will lose all sense of ego. Complete infection. After every cell in the body has been taken over by the mold, the subject begins to lose their human form. Physical mutations differ from case to case, but it all results in him or her acquiring incredible physical strength. Containing a subject at this stage would be extremely difficult. Yeah, so it's talking about how the mold grows, and, you know, we've seen the byproducts of that mold, where, you know, it's the creatures, it's the humanoids, but particular humanoids, yeah, it's a lot. 10 minutes after death, or 10-minute dose after death, neurotoxin E-Series dosage test. 5 minutes after dose, vomiting. 12 minutes after dose, cell calcification. Yeah, it just all these experiments. And so, yeah, this third party has been using Lucas as a way to keep an eye on Evie and field test her, basically. E-neurotoxin. Destroy cells of any subject based on the E-Series bioweapon model. Use only for disposable E-Series assets. The toxin must first be stimulated before use. Do this by placing a sample of the E-Series cells into the neurotoxin container. Well, that's the thing we got from Mia, subject E001. Slot her tissue sample into here. It goes through and, yeah, an E-Series creature, or being, or, you know, test subject. And now, E-Series neurotoxin. We got the thing to take down Evie now. This project was instigated in 2000 as one of the several concepts of the company's Next Generation Experimental Battlefield Superiority Initiative, working with the there's so much to read, from HCF to develop a bioweapon for neutralizing combatants en masse with minimal direct contact. NextBoss was later folded, and its all assets diverted into this project. What makes this project remarkably different from the conventional weapon is the ability to turn enemy combatants into allies, converting hostile elements into willing servants. Since this effectively eliminates the cost of not only POW handling, but also combat itself. It's no wonder we had the Redacted and even Redacted's organization chomping at the bit to get on board. The project would never have existed were it not for the discovery in Redacted, the remarkably progressed vicariant evolution fungus that we commonly term the mutamycet. Mutamycet? The fabrication method for each bioweapon has to introduce the metamycet genome into pre-stage 4 human embryo and perform cultivation in a controlled environment over the period of 38 to 40 weeks. The resulting organisms are referred to as candidate specimens and graded based on usability from the impractical to the faulty. Series A through D to the perfected E series. A common appearance was selected for the bioweapons, that of a roughly 10-year-old girl, to ensure ease of bleeding into the urban refugee populations. The first E-series specimen, named Evelyn, has proven capable of secreting the mutamycin redacted from her tissue as well. It's also of note that Evelyn's mutamycet imposes a profound control over body and mind that when introduced into a host organism. We still have a lot to learn about the mechanism by which Evelyn achieves and maintains this control, but the working theory is that the vector is similar to the autoinducery pheromones used for quorum sensing in Pseudomonas bacteria. Sorry, a lot of big words. Evelyn's control is exerted in a series of discrete stages, the first of which is hallucination. Almost immediately after infection, the subject begins to see images of Evelyn, though she is not in fact there, and even hear her voice, which is inaudible to anyone else. Auditions with infected subjects throughout the stages of infection reveal that, at first, the phantom Evelyn appears to be a normal young girl, sometimes desiring companionship or assistance. As time progresses, she begins to make more and more extreme demands, including self-mutilation and attacks on other people. The psychological shock this induces helps to break down the mind's natural barriers to Evelyn's brainwashing effect, and by the time mental control is achieved, the mutamycet infection has progressed throughout the body's cells, so the body redacted. So yeah, it's breaking down everything. So basically, Evelyn is a mold creature in the shape of a little girl, and was she a little girl that was experimented on with this mold, or is she literal mold shaped like a 10-year-old girl with the same brain patterns as one too? And yeah, what she does, her influence just breaks you down. She does not appear to be real, and eventually, she just gets into your mind, breaks you down until you just cave in and, have her influencing you even if you don't realize it. Evelyn's functions also include the ability to form organisms from mycelia, the fungal filaments. The term organism is used loosely here. Strictly speaking, they are superorganisms formed by countless mycelia. Mycelia? What's important, though, is that they exhibit a strong survival instinct and will defend themselves ferociously with the slightest provocation. Their fungal toughness and remarkable strength gives them the significant battlefield potential. The researchers have calling these superorganisms the molded, made of mold and also molded as in shaped. The name has a certain elegance to it. Yeah, this is the first time you actually hear the name. I've been calling them molded just because, it's the term I know. For the treatment of accidental infection, performing redacted on samples of Evelyn's body tissue produces a unique fungicidal serum. Administering the serum to an infected subject will cause the mycelia to calcify, but if the subject's cells are already largely invaded, the serum will be fatal. Since the treatment window is so small, the serum's primary use is therefore disposal of infected subjects, rather than a cure. In exploring the serum's potential, we found that subjecting it to redacted would enhance its effects to extreme potency, becoming a compound we now call E-neurotoxin, which redacted in even tiny amounts. What's been interesting to observe in Evelyn's behavior is her obsession with the concept of family. In experiments, we found on multiple occasions that infected subjects were compelled to act as her mother or father, treating her as if they were really if she were really their daughter. Why did she settle upon family as the theme for her mental control? This is just speculation, but it could be that she instinctively understands that a family unit is better suited into blending into social groups than a lone girl. On the other hand, a sentimental sort might suggest that she's making up for a perceived lack of love in her quarantined upbringing. A parent's love. Yeah, and that's how Evie lashes out. She wants that family. She wants that companionship. She wants to be loved, but that's also kind of a ploy so she can get into your mind, because that's just how her as an entity operates. Sorry. I should take... Yeah, make some healing. Okay. So, yeah, it's kind of it's really messed up on many degrees where... That was a light one, right? Am I going the wrong way? No, this is the right way. This is the opposite end. Sorry. It's really messed up because, yeah, she wants, there is a part of her that genuinely wants to be loved and cared for, but that's also part of her, like, that's also just part of her to shed the bacteria and keep her alive by being part of a family unit and controlling them to fight for her, to take over for her, to do things for her, and to break them down until they're just completely obedient. Is that a mag round? Yeah. Okay. I hear singing. I don't know if you can hear that, but I hear it. What's important here is that I hear it. Yeah. Now this is the big part where we're gonna run. Nope, I'm getting stuck on a ledge. Reload, some bitch. Yeah. So yeah, but she has control over all the mold, so now she's just going, full berserk. Everything's breaking down, everything's falling apart. God damn it, move it. And she's gonna bring the house down if that's what it takes to survive. Because, yeah, manipulating... She wants to be loved, but also that manipulation is her defense mechanism to make sure she survives and, propagates the bacteria. Whether she really wants to or intends to, but that's just what she does. And, yeah, meanwhile, yeah. So when Mia didn't accept her, or really couldn't accept her because it wouldn't work that well that way. You guys, but the ladder's right here. God damn it. Shoot. I'm gonna have to take them down. Okay. Well, that's what fat molded. This thing comes charging at you, aim for the legs to trip it up. Okay, we didn't get sent back that far. That's good. Alright, well, that's what the mines are for. I was worried about this, but I suppose worried isn't the right word. Whoops. God damn it. Don't have a lot of shotgun shells. Try that again. It's down. Can I run? Okay. Sorry. There we go. So yeah, that's what's up with Evie. That's what Evie really is. But again, so part of it is that she does, throw herself in these, like, projections. No, they don't have any bombs. She kind of throws herself these projections in order to... I'm going to save just in case. Got a separate save. Yeah, so she can toss herself as a projection to get other people involved. That looks familiar. Anyways. So, yeah. So she... What we've been seeing, every time we've heard her speak, every time we've seen her in person, it's always been a hallucination. So again, where's the real body?
It's gone. It's gone.
And now we're back in the house. E001. Granny. And, yeah, why this is here is Mia probably figured out where she was. So, we're just going to let that sit for a second. And there are plenty of clues, because what we heard from Lucas... We'll get there. Sorry, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of fun, interesting build-up done throughout. Sorry, I was looking for something.
This is your fault.
Why am I
Is
saying
it?
this?
Yeah, but now we're seeing, you know, these flashbacks of when we ran into Mia. She's freaking out. She's attacking us because this was, you know, the entire time Evelyn's been behind her, influencing Mia's actions.
It's okay, it's me. I know you didn't mean to hurt me.
Kill him, Mommy.
But you shouldn't have done that! It fucking hurts!
Does it want to be my daddy? Then he can die. Now it's Mommy's turn to kill you.
So yeah, that's what's been up with Evelyn. Hold on a second. Certain things trigger at a certain time.
You're gonna be one of us. And then maybe you'll play nicely.
I'm not playing.
No! Get that away from me!
Don't need your pity.
Yeah, we got a fake hallucination of Mia still attacking us. She still bites. The thing is, we gotta track her down. So, yeah. I should have looked. And yeah, this little doll. And there was also another doll down in the basement, which was black shirt, black jack. No, just black shirt, right? Yeah. And, you know, a doll for Mia, too. We just gotta keep on looking. I'm just trying to figure out, because I don't think that actually... You know, we can still be hurt, because they might be hallucinations, they still can do damage. Yeah, and this, you gotta block when she shouts. Crap. She killed me with her. She killed me with her wailing. Damn it. It's just like, oh, that was easy. Evelyn won't let you get near her. If you take her to the, take her out with an E neurotoxin, you'll have to guard against her attacks. Yeah, I just bumbled it up. You just gotta block when she does the big shouts. Damn it, I thought I could reach her. I'll get the next one soon. Come here. Okay, I'm hurt, but we got her.
You.
And there she is.
Why does everyone hate me?
Goodbye, Evelyn.
Yeah, it's not over yet. That Yeah. Now it's just going berserk. I wonder if this is gonna work. Okay. Sorry, and that you just gotta deal damage, and, you know, you just gotta hit her enough times where, you know, before she catches up to you and eats you, so it's kind of a DPS check. Not dead yet. Surprising. Yeah, and now she's just gotten crazy. As she's just, you know, completely congealed into a gigantic mole monster. It's just going berserk. If the neurotoxin is working, she's getting a last gasp in. Save me, shotgun! Just switch that. Okay. Everything hurts so much. All right. This thing looks badass. I wish I could have used it throughout the rest of the game. Just gotta wait for the windows to get the shot off. Preferably. Sorry, girl. Yeah, a lot of reveals that really come together, and you know, you can piece things. The nightmare's finally over. Complete the game on normal. Hell yeah. That was tough. Normal was tough enough for me. End of the night. Get ending 1. There's 2 endings, and I'll get into the divulsions, or the differences, whatever. Hey, buddy. What's up? Can I help you?
I'm Redfield.
Okay, I wouldn't have guessed that unless you announced it. So,
Fuck took you guys so long.
so yeah, surprise cameo from Chris Redfield, Boulder Puncher himself. And yeah, so what's he been up to? Oop. Hey, girl.
Mia,
How you doing?
you made it. I'm glad.
Did I?
The thing is, if you look at the helicopter, it's an umbrella
Say
symbol.
One door closes, another opens. Well, a door closed tonight. And what a long night it was. But not just for me. Mia and I weren't the only victims here. So were the Bakers. It was that thing, Evelyn, who made them that way.
Yeah,
Now everyone's
umbrella. New logo,
These guys
though.
are here to clean up the mess.
Took him long enough.
I had just come.
This has
to
only been
terms
happening
with
for
losing
3
Mia.
frickin' years.
And now she's back and wants to start over. Put all this behind us. Maybe this is where the next door opens.
Resident Evil 7. Biohazard. Huh.
Go tell Aunt Rhody. Go tell Aunt Rhody.
Alright. Sorry, just now we get the credits.
Tell Aunt Rhody that everybody's dead.
I gotta look up this song because this is a cool song. It plays in like, you know, before start screen intro, which was really cool.
In a deep dark hole. A prisoner with no parole.
Okay, I don't want to talk over the vocals, but yeah, there's a lot. I just want to see if there's anything, because I actually skipped this last time. I don't know if there's like a post-credit scene in this. Hold on, I'm looking up something real quick while this is playing.
She'll run to him like he's the one. His arms outstretched, but when she's done, he'll be torn apart. Go tell Aunt Rhody. Go tell Aunt Rhody. Go tell Aunt Rhody.
Okay, sorry, just letting that play out, because yeah, that's a cool song. And I was wondering, it's just like, it's, what I'm hearing is like, go tell Aunt Rhody. It's like, that can't be the lyric, right? No, that actually is. I guess looking it up now, it's a folk song. Come on. Sorry, I'm trying to back up and check something. God damn it. Okay. No, yeah, go tell Aunt Rhody. Come on. Sorry, I just had it pulled up. Yeah, like a folk song that that was basically covered for this, and it totally works. 19th century, yeah, folk song. Who's the band who did this cover? Just a second, if I pull up a YouTube video, it should tell me. Okay, no, it's not telling me. Okay, anyways. Okay, anyways, sorry. Alright, this credit scheme we can skip. Sorry, that's a really cool, you know, credit sequence. You know, at the end there. That song is good. Anyways. So, yeah, that was Resident Evil 7. Hold on a second. Sorry, that's scrolling through, but we are actually, you know, there are things talking about, more about Evie. Okay. That's interesting. Sorry. So yeah, it was like kind of like a report about it, just sort of like, hey, yeah, it totally works. Sort of. Okay, so there we go. We got our stats. Difficulty normal, playtime 6.5 hours, which my last playthrough was on easy mode using coins, 5.5 hours, which worked out just fine. You know, I missed a file apparently. How long you played this save data? Yeah. So, 5.5 hours of my last playtime, but that was lower difficulty. So, not substantially different, which, kind of works. It seems short, but there was a lot that happened, and probably a good chunk of that hour was also me pausing at times, talking, and doing other stuff, and also doing a bit more than even I did in my easy playthrough, since I knew what I was doing, I knew what I could look for, and then doing stuff like finding the stabilizer and doing some other stuff. But either way, and also higher difficulty meant things were stronger overall. Yeah, found most of the antique coins, missed a couple. Files obtained, number of files you obtained using the save file. I missed one. Damn it. I think there's an achievement for finding all the files, and I've missed one. Okay. Item boxes open lots of times. Stabilizers used, steroids used. Is that all the steroids, or is there more? Either way. Item, the Secrets of Defense. It'll be added to your item box in the main game. Okay, whatever that means. So, yeah, that was Resident Evil 7. How was it? It's really good. Like, I mean, damn, this revitalized the Resident Evil franchise in many ways. Because, yeah, after the kind of, like, the well-selling, but also lukewarm and to bad fan reception of Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 6, and, spin-offs not taking off despite things like Operation Raccoon City and Umbrella Corps, and just like Capcom was not doing great. And that was on top of other things they were up to at the time. And then, Resident Evil 7 happened, and that kind of was like the big shift for a lot of, how Capcom is doing things right now. Because, and I was gonna bring this up earlier, but if somebody at Capcom, if I were to talk to somebody who was involved with this game, one of the directors or something, and I'd ask them a question, and if they told me that they were in no way influenced by the PT demo when it first came out, or, the reaction to the PT demo, if they said they were not inspired in some way or influenced in some way, by the Silent Hills demo, I'd call them a liar to their face, and maybe they, and maybe they haven't. But yeah, when the PT demo came out, in 2014 or 2013, I don't remember. But the trailer for the playable teaser for Silent Hills, when that was still in development before it got canceled, that was kind of like the thing that revitalized a lot of people going like, survival horror is real, it's coming back, and it's coming back one of the biggest franchises in the series, or, one of the big survival horror franchises, and then Konami canceled it. And it's still being clamored for all these years later. And not only did they cancel Silent Hills, they removed the demo from the PlayStation Store, and so no one could play it again. And then, I feel like from there, it's not too big of a stretch to say, like, Capcom saw that and then go, oh, there's a market for this. People want this. People want to record this and share it with people, and they want to experience this kind of horror. It is there, it's alive. And so I feel like a lot of Resident Evil 7 was influenced by that initial thing. And, even with the demo, I feel like at the very least, if they weren't inspired by PT to make the game or influence parts of the game, they were definitely inspired to do that with like the demo. Because again, the demo changed and got updated, showed you items and gave you hints and kind of gave you a quick peek at Jack Baker a little bit. It was just like an ever-changing demo that people kept going back to and making videos on weeks before the game even came out. And then, yeah, the game came out to great critical reception, going back to the horror roots. And yeah, kind of breathing new life into the zombie horror survival game. And where a lot of new people a lot of old fans got back into the series through it, and a lot of new fans came into the series. And yeah, when I first tried playing it, again, I mentioned it before, my friend picked it up, played the opening hour with him. Too scary for us. Another friend got it, was playing it, got farther, played some with him, and, it's just sort of like, oh, this is too much. And then I picked up a copy, because I go like, I'm a big boy, I can handle horror, and I couldn't. It just like, that first person perspective messes me up, because just like, it's right up in your face. I could not go into this in a blind playthrough. Like, I didn't intend to play through the whole game in the lead up to recording it. I was going to test the waters and then go into a, first time playing the game since 2020, I think. Or no, 29, sometime in 2019, not long after the Resident Evil 2 remake came out, because that's how I got into the franchise. RE2 make is what made me a Resident Evil fan. And from there, I've been following the series ever since. And like, I've been meaning to go back to some of the older games. I've got them. I've got every Resident Evil game that's available to buy as far as like Xbox Series X goes. Any Resident Evil game I can get on Xbox through the digital store, I bought it because I've gotten into the franchise. And between the RE2 make, it's what brought me to finishing RE7 and getting into it. And I took it very slowly, very, sheepishly, but I managed to inch my way through it. It took me a long time, just because, like, that tension and that horror, it just gets me, especially the first-person perspective. Like, Resident Evil 2, 3, 4, they have their horror elements, and, they can still be scary, but there is a difference between the first-person perspective and the third-person perspective. There's that disconnect. There's that literal distance from where your eyes are at to where the monsters are showing up. And at least in a third-person perspective, you can use that to your advantage to, like, peek around corners and get a wide sweep of the area. Meanwhile, in the first-person perspective, everything feels slower. You turn slower, you move slower, and if something comes at you, it's going to be right in your face, and that's just terrifying. I cannot, I could never play this in VR. I'm never going to attempt it, even even if the offer's just like laid out at my feet. It's like, I could not do that. Looking at it on a monitor where I can see the world around me is still too much. Or where it's literally in front of my eyes and on my face? No, terrifying. Can't do it. But anyways, sorry, I need a drink. I've been talking for a while. But yeah. And then, yeah. I finally finished Resident Evil 7, and I did like it. Now coming back to it, I like it even more. Because, yeah, I also appreciate more of what it's trying to do now that I'm a bit more familiar with the Resident Evil franchise and some of the story elements. It's all over the place, but still. But, kind of like getting some more of the references or getting some of the tells and what they're trying to do. Like, again, like the bathtub and like the shotgun, putting it or replacing the shotgun on a mount with a different shotgun or replacement. All references to the first Resident Evil game, which I eventually played after RE3 make. But yeah, it's just like I get a lot more of those references now and what they're trying to do. And also, knowing what to expect going in partially to figure out like, okay, don't waste my ammo on this, don't fight Jack here, don't do this, and mainly just like conserving ammo more, so it's like the fear of the inventory management isn't so bad. Because yeah, that is still a part of the game. It's just like that, and I do like that tension of the item juggling is like, okay, I take these components, mix these together, but I can also save these up, take these stronger components, make something else, but it's a, I can make a stronger piece of ammo or piece of equipment, but it's temporary. I can't use this all the time, so I can make weaker stuff that will, it'll be hard to kill something, but it'll last longer, such and such like that. And yeah, like, there's a lot of good stuff to this, again, like, okay, I'm trying to figure out where to go, because, yeah, I'm just trying to think. There's just so much. There's just so much. But yeah, again, there's just so much. Cause yeah, just like the perspective on it, kind of like a jump forward from like where Resident Evil 6 ended, which was just sort of like, and it seems like Chris is back and he's working with a new rebranded Umbrella, trying to, snuff out. Well, we'll get there. There's plenty of DLC. That's the other thing, because there is just like a dearth of content, that got released for like the year after Resident Evil 7 released, between the banned footage chapters, where it's just like additional, the DLC we got for Resident Evil 7 ranges from score attack stuff and like arcadey things to, big plot elements, some plot elements that reveal some things, and also just like some fun, change-ups between, Nightmare, a kind of like a survival horde mode for, that builds upon itself, Bedroom, another escape room, where you got to deal with Marguerite, and 21, where it's Jigsaw playing blackjack, which is really fun, and then Daughters, where it, shows how it all started, to a degree, from Zoe's perspective. And that's just one of the DLC packs, because that was released piecemeal over time. We got Not a Hero, where it's just like, this is Chris trying to hunt down Lucas, and so we can wrap up that loose end. And then End of Zoe, where we kind of really learn about what happened to Zoe after the end of the game. And things get weird. We'll get into that when we get into that. And then score attack stuff like Jack's Birthday, and Ethan Must Die, which are mainly mini games just for, just for score attack and weird, goofy stuff. But we're not going to get into that. But yeah, so there's plenty of DLC to go, and I will get to that. But I need a break. I'm tired. But yeah, so Resident Evil 7. Sorry, there's so much to talk about. Like, there's just so many things. Like, breaking it down about, like, Evelyn, what she is, what she's doing. Breaking down what Lucas is doing. Because, apparently he's working for this third party, which seems to be the company that made Evelyn, and he's cured. He's been cured for a long time. And, that's just the thing. He's free of Evelyn's mind control, or, influence, and he stayed. He stuck around. He kept doing things. He kept torturing people for fun, because that's just who he was. And, Evelyn's influence was just the excuse he needed to break out and become kind of what he always wanted to be, and what he was always okay with being as. And we got a glimpse of that when we read, find the information about Oliver and what he did to just like a, school bully. And he did that when he was young, and he hid it, and no one knew about it. And just stuff like that. There is like a dark side to the Baker family. Well, there is a light side to the Baker family, but, because they got wrapped up into two, there is still some darkness there, There were, and we'll see more of that in Daughters, where it's just sort of like, sorry, it's just sort of like, they didn't, I suppose we'll save that for Daughters. There's just so much to talk about, and even stuff like Mia, and, we learned about what her whole deal was. She was the caretaker for Evelyn, and just could not, commit to being her mother. And I say commit as if she was responsible for it, but, it's just like, she just couldn't take up that role, and she just couldn't play convincingly enough, and that's what caused Evelyn to lash out. Because, the thing is, she is a living mold, but she wants a family, but having a family is her defense mechanism to make sure she lives. So it's just kind of like this cruel cycle of, like, she can never be happy, because she has to manipulate and destroy everything that comes into contact with her. And, there's so much build-up over the course of the game. You know what? I should load my file. Hold on. Okay. I meant to... Okay, not here. Hold on. Yeah. Trying to find a save file, because then I can go through notes and such, because I should have did that, just like for visual. Okay, yeah, files. But, like, going from the beginning, it's like, we got Mia, who, went out to work for this company, and it's just sort of like, hey, I'll be back soon, and she's probably been gone for a while. And then Ethan just never heard back from her. She said it was a babysitting job because she was babysitting a psychic mold monster. And it got out, and she tried to tell him just forget about me, leave me alone, and then, but it seems like he never got that message, I'm assuming. So he just got the message 3 years later, come get me. Which could either have been Mia, unconsciously calling for him, or more accurately, probably influence from Evelyn to call in a new dad. Because that's the thing. She ultimately wanted Mia to be her mom, but the Baker family just wasn't fulfilling what she wanted. And, we even got a scene with that from Jack, where, when you try to get that last Cerberus head from him and he's mumbling to himself, it's just sort of like, he wants her to be your new father. It's like, I wanted to be a dad. And so it's like, I'm going to make him suffer for it. And so it's just like, it's him realizing he's going to get replaced. And that's why he's especially cruel to Ethan. And stuff like that. And then, it's like, I finally got a chance to be a father, and she wants to replace me, completely forgetting about Zoe. And that's something that kind of comes up, and it's just sort of like, Zoe just kind of lost her place as the daughter of the family because of Evelyn, and so she just got completely pushed to the side. And so between Zoe and Mia basically being trapped, there for 3 years, and trying to figure out how to survive and, keep Evelyn happy, but ultimately they just couldn't do enough, and they couldn't keep up the act. And, all the people the Bakers caught over the years that died during the process or successfully turned into mold monsters, and, how they contained everything, all the people they kidnapped, just so much. Yeah, and, his note, just sort of like, storm. And then, I'll check out, Lucas is making a fuss about a huge ship that washed up in the bayou. If that's true, I better report it to the parish. I'll go check it out tomorrow. And that's where he found Mia and, Mia and Evelyn. There's so much. There's so many notes and things that when you look back on make a lot of sense. They've been hinting at, Mia has been... Evelyn has been, grandma the entire time. Because it's actually, when you think about it, no one ever acknowledges her existence. Because that's the thing. Mia, so many names. Eleanor is not under extensive care anymore. Her body is just rapidly aging. So she goes from a 10-year-old girl to a barely functioning, maybe 80, 90-year-old woman in just 3 years. And no one acknowledges her existence. No one mentions Grandma. Everyone's just talking about Evelyn. They don't even realize Evelyn is right there, because they are so consumed by Evelyn's hallucinations of who she is and what she is that they completely bypass that she is right there, aging before their eyes, and maybe in a couple more years would have just died on her own, but she had to be taken down sooner rather than later. And then meanwhile, parts, probably these from the ship, just washed up in the bayou that Zoe managed to find, the D-series experiment. So it's just okay, with this, I can make a cure. And then Marguerite took it. And then Evelyn, through projections told her hide these things. Don't let anyone find them. And, they all got given this gift, this immortality to an extent. They couldn't die. They could regenerate. And, just so much. Something strange about the child womb. Yeah, okay, even looking at these Marguerite's notes, it's like Zoe says, there's something strange about that child and the woman she brought with her. And then, she goes she feels sick, they go to get examined, and that's when the mold starts growing in her body. She gave me a present, but the present is a secret room right in the back. And so they kind of deify, they begin to deify Evelyn, and just sort of this all-important, their daughter, this spiritual being, that must be protected at all cost. But, yeah, they just kind of like lose track and completely like, they're so obsessive over Evelyn, they completely lose track of like that how she actually exists. But then, yeah, then we learn Lucas, he's been normal the whole time. And basically it seems like he's just been the go-between reporting in. It's just sort of like, well, here's how the test subject's doing. Mia's starting to figure it out. Zoe's starting to figure it out. And she's starting to rapidly age. And he's fully aware something's wrong and just is going along with it because he gets tough test subjects like Clancy to goof around with. And, probably who knows what resources from that company that he's working with. God, I feel like I'm forgetting something. There was something I wanted to bring up, and I'm forgetting. Because there's just so much foreshadowing when you look back on it. In fact, a lot of interesting foreshadowing, not even fully relevant to this game, but for the future of Resident Evil 8, which I've not played Resident Evil 8, but I do know spoilers about it, and I won't get into that. But from what I do know, they're setting up so much early on about things that happen in that game. And it's really interesting to take that into account. Like, they are laying out the groundwork to big twists, from what I understand, in the next game that recontextualize even this first game. So, I gotta get around to Resident Evil 8, maybe this Halloween, we'll see where it's at. But, yeah, so much. There's so much. So much interesting, like, theory crafting and breakdowns, and there's still more to go. Yeah, Resident Evil 7, kind of revitalized the franchise, and, there's so much to say, but I'm very tired. There's stuff like the performances, and, like, Ethan and Mia, because, the biggest complaints this game does have is that Ethan's a pretty wooden character, and he is, because, and again, no disrespect to the actor, not at all, but, it's just sort of like, he doesn't react to things as wildly as you think he should, or freak out as much, so it kind of just feels like, and how he phrases things, it seems like he knows a lot, but he really knows nothing, and meanwhile, it's just sort of like, until like the end, really, it's just sort of like, you don't really see, it's like, what is Ethan and Mia? What's their connection? Mia doesn't tell him anything, and Ethan knows nothing. And turns out, Mia can't really say much because she doesn't remember much because she's been in horrible captivity for 3 years, and also completely loses herself to Evelyn's influence, trying to convince her, Evelyn trying to convince Mia to just kill Ethan because he's, he doesn't like the new dad that showed up, so just get rid of him. So, it's like the relationship is weird. A lot of character interactions are weird when it comes to Ethan. Like, how he interacts with Zoe, how he interacts with Mia is weird in some cases. There could be more character fleshing out in that regard. I wish we got to see more of Zoe. I mean, we do in the DLC, but it's not that much of actually her. And we'll get there. But, I kind of wish we got to do more with Zoe. More meet face-to-face before the end there, and maybe help build up that interaction. And then the enemy types, because, yeah, there's really only 3 enemy types in the game. Sort of. Because really the main enemy type is the molded, and there's basic shambling molded, which is kind of like a big burly zombie from the other games. You got the liquor molded, the 4-legged fast moving, because it's basically a liquor. That's how a liquor at least acts in the RE2 make a few years later. And then you got the bloater. I'm sure it's got a different name, but it's a bloater. It's the Left 4 Dead 2 big fat vomity zombie. The explodey one. Whatever. Either way. So the enemy types are very limited. Even the bugs aren't really like that big of a deal. So I mean, there are different source of damage. I wouldn't consider them a long-standing, enemy type. And then there's the Bakers, which, yeah, are standout moments of their own domains. But, they're also not basic enemy types. They're boss monsters that, you gotta get to a certain moment before you can fight back against properly. But how those fights go, like Jack in the garage, the chainsaw duel, that last one where he's just like this giant mutated monster, Marguerite and her weird spider thing where she sets up she creates hives on the fly, and then Lucas, just, no boss fight with him yet. But just like his escape room jigsaw traps is very fun, and everyone's got their domain, and it kind of works. Or it works really well, I think. You get to see a lot of the Baker's personality, but you can also see, like, where the good was in them before things went to hell, and you feel really bad for them, and there's more time to feel more bad for them. What else? Oh, I want to talk about the endings. Sorry, there is so freaking much, and I'm so tired. I'm actually starting to get a headache. But talking about the endings real quick, because there is a distinction. Because, who do you cure? Do you cure Mia, or do you cure Zoe? And what that cure does is, it rids them of Evelyn's influence. So they can't leave otherwise. And, so the thing is... Yeah, and mainly it's, if you save Mia, it's a good ending. If you cure Zoe, it's the bad ending. Because what happens is, if you cure Zoe, that's the thing. It's just like, again, I feel like Zoe's got a better case to be saved. Because she's, she's been helping you out. She's been contacting you. And you kind of work up a better relationship with her than this one we think we know about Mia, who's tried to kill us multiple times, and we don't know why, and she won't explain anything that's going on, mostly because she can't. But that's just, we don't know that yet. So it's like, Zoe feels like the correct option in many ways. But what happens is, you escape, but the cure doesn't really work for her. And so Evelyn takes over Zoe, and then dumps Ethan, and Mia, one way or another, finds herself over at the Tankard, where, when you release Ethan, the thing is, she can't fight back, so she completely is taken over by Evelyn's influence, and Ethan finally has to kill her. And so, bad ending, ultimately, and you cure Zoe, you get the bad ending, because Zoe still can't escape, and Mia can't stop Evelyn's influence, and she dies. And so Ethan just leaves on the helicopter, no wife. Meanwhile, saving Mia, good ending, because she's got that few moments of cognition to, get Ethan on the right track to go stop Evelyn, and just, like, gets you out of the way to deal with her alone, which it's amazing she came out of it alive. But, so there is a distinction. Not that you realize that, or not that it makes sense after the fact. In the moment, if you were just sort of like, all right, choose Mia because that's the good ending, choose Zoe because that's the bad ending. If you just told that to somebody and it's just sort of like, what? Why? It makes sense later. That's not a compelling argument. It's not necessarily a problem or a docking of points. It's just like, just pointing that out. But anyways, so yeah. Yeah, there's so much. This is a cool game, and I probably am going to play it again pretty quickly here, because I want to use the Albert and use that throughout the game as my base weapon, or however that works. That's just like a Magnum or something. But, use that more, or use the coins, because that just, like, gives you that, passive bonus to fight harder. Sorry. And, try to play again on easy mode to get that 4-hour mark. And then, I think it's after you beat normal mode, you get Madhouse difficulty, which is, like, extra hard mode. And I can't deal with that. I'm not putting up with that. I'm not even going to attempt it. Maybe I will, out of curiosity, but I don't think I can handle that. Anyways, it's difficult enough as it is. I don't need to be stretched to the max. But anyways, okay, sorry, I've been rambling for, like, a long time. We finished the game, like, 30 minutes ago, and I've just been talking. There's so much to talk about, though. But I'm going to stop talking, because there's plenty more talking to do once we get to the DLC. Starting with banned footage, probably do that first, and then get on to the other DLC. Yeah, sorry, there's a lot. But yeah, for now, that's the wrap-up. That's the main story. I will come back for the DLC. I will, vomit my black ichor of thoughts about it when we get there. But in the meantime, that's it for now. The nightmare is over until it's not. So, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe and all that. This is Timmara, signing off. And thank you for watching me play Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.